Click the links for Odysee, BitChute, Coffee, or the Discord. Do you want to make art or propaganda? Even the framing is like problematic or like whatever. We have a duty to make propaganda, especially in these trying times. Dear Zur, suck my balls. The thing with propaganda is the people making it are such idiots. They use big words and they use complicated sentence structure, but they always assume facts not in evidence, then they assume the conclusion, then they build new arguments based on an echo chamber. And they run the schools and the publications, so all their articles and books are kind of self-referential. They endlessly praise each other and give each other awards. It's an infinite circle jerk where they stand and applaud Roman Polanski and Weinstein. But lately, there's been a little rift growing between Hollywood, which has a lot of money at stake, versus the media, who doesn't. Not in the Hollywood films, unless they have some kind of connection, which some of them do. It's easy to tell other people to make a woke project when you don't have money involved in it. Movies cost hundreds of millions of dollars. They will occasionally make woke femme films that tank, but it has to be rare. You can't do a Birds of Prey or Ghostbusters 2016 or all those kind of. You can't lose money consistently. So if some soylent reporter asked me why Margot Robbie didn't have more lines, I would just seriously say, when you make a movie, you can do it as you wish. I'd be nice, but that's kind of what it boils down to. If you don't see what you like, either on YouTube or in movies or in books, eventually you can just step up to the plate and make your own. If I sculpt something or I paint something and they ask me why I did it that way, it's because it's what the art called for. What if Tarantino said that men kind of tend to tune out when women talk too much? Which is true. He would have insulted Robbie and pseudo-outraged many, many woke people on Twitter. So the reporter is asking a question where the spectrum of possible answers is already sort of pre-selected due to political correctness. So the reporter is breaking the rules so she can just blow her name up. It's an unanswerable question just meant to virtue signal and get her some attention. It kind of backfired. And the reporter probably thinks she is stunning and brave, speaking truth to power or some other nonsense, except that the media slept on Epstein and Weinstein. So again, she can suck my salty balls. Tarantino makes coked up pop culture films so you can finger bang your girlfriend in the theater. Yes, films can be artistic, but it's an artistic business. Why didn't Margot Robbie have more lines? Why would she? She had the correct number of lines to make the movie that they made, which kind of circular reasoning, but you know where I'm going with that. It's like, did they make a good movie? Yes, then they did it correctly, whatever they did. How many lines are enough? Should everyone in the movie have an equal percentage of the lines, regardless of the story? Why does Margot need more lines? What if the lines slow the movie down? The lines she had made the movie that they made. Again, suck my balls and go make your own film. Quentin Tarantino snapped at a female reporter. Why does it matter that she's female? I don't know. What is Tarantino supposed to say? Yeah, sorry, but Brad Pitt was a much bigger draw than Margot Robbie. She's cute, but she's not as good an actor, and she doesn't have the stage presence that Brad Pitt and the other guy have. And besides, chicks in movies have been bombing lately, and we wanted to make some money. So, that's it. Goes how it goes. And there's a whole string of like bombing female movies. Ocean's 8 and what's the X-Men? We want to be called the X-Women. Terminator, Charlie's Angels. Man, there's like a half dozen that just tank. It was an incredibly stupid thing to ask, but at least people saw her as the jackass. Because I don't know that if people like Speedy Tarantino, but they definitely like his movies. Anyway, so has woke culture gone so far that it's just turned into pure propaganda? Expression needs to be unfettered. Once the media acts as an influencer, you end up with crap. We don't want to be lectured to by people who live in mansions, in gated communities, are doing ladyboys on the weekend with endless amounts of cocaine and Viagra, but they think, we need to lecture these people. Okay. The thing with movies is that there's going to be a lot of soy offerings put forth. You're going to see a lot more breastless lesbians who are avoiding the male gaze and the male dollar. When Birds of Prey is a huge hit, then women can get more lines. Assuming Margot is a woman, you have no idea these days. Think about this. You couldn't make Pulp Fiction today. Oh, well, we just need to be more sensitive and cut some lines out. Tarantino was talking about dead N-bombs in a car because that was what was in the movie. In a later scene, you could see his black wife. None of that would fly today because it's way too nuanced and complicated, from dead N-bomb storage to his black wife. It's crazy, but it feels real, or at least it felt real for the movie universe. It felt like probably truth and parody in reality, because it felt like a lot of drugged up behavior, which at the time was probably accurate for the people involved in the movie. But it's like, people who are heavily involved in pharmaceuticals just do a lot of kind of crazy things. So it made sense. The movie Pulp Fiction kept you off balance. At times, it kind of had a supernatural feel to it. It wasn't high art, but he's not a genius. He's just a businessman who has made films that people seem to like, and he's seen billions of dollars go through his production company. I'm not a fan because the movies, they're good pop culture, but they're pseudo-edgy, as almost everything out of Hollywood is. But people like them, and he gives his fans what they want. He's a Hollywood guy. I guarantee that he's going to be a far-left idiot, but he's not dumb. You can't write good movies with this current level of censorship. There already is a ton of censorship in Hollywood. Let me put it this way, very carefully. You are free to insult Christians all you want. The other two are strictly off limits, because Christians don't run Hollywood. See Sarah Silverman for her many racist, anti-Christian, big screen hate crimes, or Amy Schumer, who has done a lot of racist things, but actually she's surprisingly shown some depth in some of her jokes, which kind of, if any, I would not have expected to see it from Amy Schumer, but creditors do. Look at all the movies that you've enjoyed pre-2020. A lot of them are wrong-think now. In fact, most of the best ones could not be made exactly as they were made. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which was good. It wasn't great. Again, it was one of those things where everything else around it was just so bad that when the first season of Always Sunny came on, you thought, oh, this is really good. It's good. It's solid. It's just that everything else really, really sucks. It has been on the air long enough for them to see that the earlier shows are not politically correct, and they needed to be edited so they could be replayed. Anything past season 9, you can just skip. You can use a VPN, and you can find seasons 1 to 9 plus the podcasts, they do this thing where they watch the shows and they talk about the shows, and actually it's really interesting. And I'm not usually into that kind of details, but they I don't know, they really do a good job talking about it. And then they did a live musical, which was excellent. And they had their beers on stage when they were doing it, but they did a great job, even though they were drinking. The recent episodes they have included a trans bathroom episode. It wasn't a comedy. It was just a lecture on how much they respect trans people. Are you effing kidding me? I obviously don't have an issue with trans, LGBT, whatever, but an effing lecture doesn't belong in a purported comedy. There was no setup, no punchline, no nothing. It was the cringiest thing I have ever seen. In these first few episodes, one of the guys is dating some guy who, quote, tucks it back. It's funny, all right? It's just funny. It helps normalize things if that's what you're into. Brittany Daniels, who was in Club Dread, which is a great small-budget comedy. The thing with treating people equally, that is that it means you have to treat people equally. Everyone has to have their turn bent over the barrel. Kind of an odd turn of phrase, now that I think about it. To be fair, I would make fun of BLT people in every episode, especially trans, because the jokes practically write themselves. I'm sure it would have them in stitches. See how easy that was? Post-2020 films are over. You're going to have to, seek your entertainment in the past or make your own shows. Post-2020 riots comedy is definitely over, because the only punchline is blonde man bad. You can have action films, but even then, all the bad guys are going to have to be blonde. It's not only also tiresome, it's reaching new levels of tiresomeness. You guys had the infrastructure. All you had to do was maintain it, but you couldn't even manage to do that. You let civilization slip through your fingers until you were left with an empire of dust. All right, like, comment, subscribe, guys. Any one of these videos, it's like eventually the algorithm is going to pick up a joke that they don't think is funny. I mean everything in good spirits. Obviously, I have no problem with LGBT, whatever. Find me on Odysee and BitChute when I eventually get shown the door.